Hello everyone. My name is Rich Keener. I'm the village manager for the Village of Villa Park. It's my honor. And today's another one of our segments where I'll be discussing the upcoming board and committee of the whole agenda. So today we're going to talk about Monday, August 14th, committee of the whole and formal board meeting. So let's start. So for the committee of the whole agenda for Monday, August 14th, number one is the call to order. It's the roll call. Number two is the Pledge of Allegiance. Number three is amendments of the agenda, and that's the appropriate time for the President and Board of Trustees to modify the Committee of the Whole agenda. So that could be tabling something, it could be taking it off, things of that nature. Number four for the Committee of the Whole is swearing in of Michael Lay to the position of Police Chief for the Village of Villa Park. Number five is appointments and reappointments to boards and commissions. And folks, there's a number of boards and commissions, so I'm just going to read the commission and then the person. So the first is the Planning and Zoning Commission. Jack Langa would be appointed. The next is the Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission. Michael Storino is an appointment. Next is the Economic Development Commission. First is Michael Piozla is an appointment, and then Gadia Fami is an appointment. Next is the Traffic and Safety Committee, which is Edward McMurray, that's an appointment. Next is the Community Pride Commission. Carol Davis is a reappointment. Jeannie Nicholson is a reappointment, and Michelle Petrie is an appointment. Next is the Environmental Concerns Commission. Sandra Hill is a reappointment. Paul Mast Hewitt is a reappointment. And Anne Marie Testa is a reappointment. Ellen Jerkonis is an appointment. And Justin Shalensky is an appointment. And that's all the boards and commissions, appointments and reappointments. And so now we're moving on to number 6 for the Committee of the Whole for Monday night, August 14th, which is to consider a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a contract with A-Lamp Concrete Contractors for the Bierman Avenue Combined Sewer Separation Project in an amount of $429,436.25. The North Bierman Avenue Combined Sewer Separation Project consists of the separation of the existing combined sewer on North Bierman Avenue from Holly Court to Division Street. The village will be receiving 75% federal funding for the project's construction from a Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery. The project was publicly bid with a total of 11 contractors submitting bids. Staff recommends awarding a contract to A-Lamp Concrete Contractors in the amount of $429,436.25. There is $536,000 budgeted in account 83-502-04-401 in the wastewater fund combined sewer separation for this purpose. So folks, it seems like we're moving forward on another important project. We have $536,000 budgeted for this project, and what takes place is we'll go ahead and pay the contractor and then seek reimbursement through the grant. So we'll be responsible for 25% of the construction costs, and we'll be receiving 75% of the construction costs through federal funding. So what a great project, and of course it's nice to have a grant to offset some of those construction costs. So moving on to number 7 for the Committee of the Whole for Monday night is to consider a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing an engineering services agreement between the Village of Villa Park and Trans Systems Corporation for Washington Street Green Infrastructure Improvements in an amount not to exceed $99,985.69. The village will open bids for the construction of the Washington Street Green Infrastructure Improvements on August 15, 2017. Trans Systems Corporation of Schaumburg, Illinois, has submitted a proposal to provide Phase 3 construction engineering services for the project to the village at a cost of $99,985.69. Proposed funding sources for this project include the Streets Improvement Fund and Referendum Account 60 502 03 292 and Stormwater Fund 68 502 10 292. So folks, Phase 3 construction engineering is construction oversight engineering. So there'll be an engineer on site as the project is being constructed. And then as the text mentioned, as I read into the record there, Tuesday, August 15th, the bids will be opened, and then we'll award the contract, obviously, to the lowest responsible bidder that meets the specifications and move forward with that project. So number 8 for the Committee of the Whole, moving forward, is to consider a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a license agreement for a portion of the public right-of-way between the Village of Villa Park and the owner of 322 West Adams Street, Villa Park, Illinois. The property owner at 322 West Adams Street wishes to maintain a walkway between the public sidewalk and the curb in the right-of-way. These are, folks, these are also called like carriage sidewalks. A license agreement is necessary to grant the property owner permission to maintain the walkway. The resident will assume all future maintenance of the walkway. The license agreement will be revocable in case right-of-way is needed for the public purpose. So folks, with this carriage walk, this will have to be constructed and maintained to meet ADA specifications. So it'll have to have a rumble strip, have to be a certain slope and width, and also have a depressed curb. So there's a few requirements before this carriage walk can be approved. Moving on to number 9 is consider a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a license agreement for a portion of the public right-of-way between the Village of Villa Park and the owner of 216 South Euclid Avenue, Villa Park, Illinois. The property owner at 216 South Euclid Avenue wishes to install a pool discharge in the Central Boulevard right-of-way. A license agreement would be needed to grant the property owner permission for the proposed installation and maintenance of the discharge. The license agreement would be revocable in the event that the village needs the right-of-way for a public purpose. So folks, this is just a drain for the pool in the public right-of-way. I believe the drain is there now, but due to the construction on Central Boulevard, certain parts of that right-of-way were removed, and now we're going to reinstall the right-of-way, and a license agreement is needed to maintain that drain there. So moving on to number 10 is to consider a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving engineering design, construction, and construction engineering services for the St. Charles Road Bridge with V3 Companies of Illinois, Ltd., in an amount not to exceed $50,000. The village was only recently notified by the Illinois Department of Transportation that the St. Charles Road Bridge has deteriorated to the point that it requires a lane closer and 15-ton weight restriction. V3 Companies has proposed to complete emergency design, construction, and construction engineering repair efforts on the failing bridge beams instead of closing a lane of traffic across the bridge at a cost not to exceed $50,000. Funding would be taken from the Street Improvement Fund 60 502 10 299 non-referendum. The village would also seek to apply previously awarded state grant funds toward this project. So folks, over a period of time, the St. Charles Road Bridge has deteriorated to a point where now we've been notified by IDOT to further restrict the weight of that bridge, its capacity. So now the restriction of the weight of the bridge is 15 tons. So we will not be able to have any bus traffic across it. Emergency vehicles, probably only like an ambulance. Our fire trucks cannot cross that due to their weight. And then the PACE buses will not be able to cross that. And tractor trailers, semis will not be able to cross that. So we've arranged an agreement with Elmhurst for emergency vehicles, and they'll help us on South 83 for Villa Park properties, and we'll help them for Elmhurst properties north of St. Charles Road. But for the lane closure, this emergency temporary fix, if you will, or repair, will be the installation of a beam, which will allow the Village of Villa Park not to close a lane. So we'll have 4 lanes, 2 in each direction, once the beam is installed. And if you're wondering, the Village of Villa Park is not responsible for inspection of that bridge. That's an IDOT requirement that they do it. So we've changed the weight restriction signs in Elmhurst and Villa Park. IDOT is now changing their weight restrictions on South 83 and North 83. And hopefully we'll get the temporary repair installed within the next few weeks if this is approved, and we will not have to close a lane, but the weight will remain restricted until reconstruction of the bridge is completed, which will probably be in 1.5 to 2 years. Phase 1 has been approved by IDOT. Phase 2 agreement is provided to IDOT by this Friday or so, and we'll move forward with the design, and then Phase 3 is construction. So it'll probably take another 1.5 to 2 years before the bridge is reconstructed. So those weight limitations, restrictions will stay in place until reconstruction of the bridge. So moving on to number 11 is to consider an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, accepting a plat of easement for stormwater management and sanitary sewer purposes at 780 North Addison Avenue, Car Wash Development, LLC. A new car wash is constructed at 780 North Addison Road, and stormwater detention has been constructed as part of that development. DuPage County Stormwater Ordinance requires all major and minor stormwater systems to be located within easements. Additionally, a utility easement for the sanitary sewer service granting the village rights of access is also incorporated into the plat. An acceptance of the easements by the village is necessary before it can be recorded. So folks, what I just described is the new development, Wash U. They have done stormwater detention and a utility easement for us, and now before we can record that easement and the plat, it has to be approved by the village board. So moving on to number 12 for the Committee of the Whole for Monday night, August 14th, is to consider an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, modifying the parking restrictions on the North Avenue, Illinois Route 64 frontage road from Kramer Avenue west to the North Avenue, Illinois Route 64 edge of payment. Based on a sketch provided by IDOT, village staff is proposing a new parking configuration on the North Avenue frontage road between Joyce Avenue and Kramer Avenue. The new configuration would prohibit parking along the north side of the frontage road while allowing angled parking on the south side of the frontage road. Parking would be prohibited on Fridays between the hours of 10 a.m. and 12 noon to allow for street sweeping. There is also a section granting the police the authority to tow a vehicle if it does not comply with the parking requirements. To implement these changes, an amendment to Section 14-207, no parking zones, Section 14-223, designated parking spaces for the handicap, and Section 14-225, permit parking, north side of North Avenue frontage road of the Village of Villa Park Municipal Code is necessary. So folks, this is the frontage road north of the North Avenue townhomes. And right now, parking is being allowed on the frontage road, on the north side of the frontage road and on the south side of the frontage road. And it's very difficult for our emergency vehicles to get through that parking configuration right now. Some vehicles are parked illegally in the egress and ingress areas, and then you have two sides of parking, so it's very difficult for the ambulances and the fire trucks to get through. Additionally, on the north side, when IDOT plows North Avenue, the snow flies up over the guardrail and lands on the cars. And then also the current parking configuration prohibits street sweeping because they're not moved and there's just many, many cars. So with this new angled configuration, there will only be parking on the south side at a diagonal, and the north side will have no parking, so we can street sweep, and then we can get in and plow the frontage road after IDOT plows North Avenue, so it'll be much cleaner from street sweeping and plowing. So it'll be it's much more an improved parking configuration. And quite honestly, this is what the residents were asking for, is improved street sweeping and help for the snow plowing efforts through IDOT and the village. So that's what we're doing. So moving on to number 13 for the Committee of the Whole, which is convene to the formal agenda. So folks, that's the Committee of the Whole. Now I'm going to switch to the formal agenda, and as I always mention, with this particular agenda for Monday, August 14th, the Committee of the Whole starts at 7:30, and then the formal board meeting starts directly after the Committee of the Whole. But on August 28th, that changes. So the meeting will start at 7 o'clock on the 28th of August. So, and I'll get into that within the formal agenda here. So for Monday, August 14th, the formal agenda goes as follows. Public comments on agenda items is number 1. Number 2 is amendments of the agenda. And folks, that's the appropriate time for the President or Board of Trustees to modify the formal agenda. Number 3 is the consent agenda. And as I always mention, for us, the Committee of the Whole, a lot of those items flow right to the consent agenda if they're non-controversial or if they require a separate vote. We separate them out. So for the consent agenda for Monday night, we have the following items. We have A is the bill listing for the weeks of July 24th, July 31st, and August 7th, 2017, for a total amount of $2,098,673.68. B, minutes from the Village Committee of the Whole meeting for July 24th, 2017. C, minutes from the Village Formal Board meeting for July 24th, 2017. D, resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a contract with A-Lamp Concrete Contractors for the Bierman Avenue Combined Sewer Separation Project in the amount of $429,436.25. The North Bierman Avenue Combined Sewer Separation Project consists of the separation of the existing combined sewer on North Bierman Avenue from Holly Court to Division Street. The village will be receiving 75% federal funding for the project's construction from a Community Development Block Grant. The project was publicly bid with a total of 11 contractors submitting bids. Staff recommends awarding a contract to A-Lamp Concrete Contractors in the amount of $429,436.25. There is $536,000 budgeted in account 83-502-04-401 in the Wastewater Fund Combined Sewer Separation for this purpose. So folks, as I mentioned during the Committee of the Whole, it's another great project, sewer separation on Bierman, and we've got 75% federal funding for the construction. That means 25% will be coming from the Village of Villa Park, so it's a great use of our funds. It's great to have another grant pay for a construction project as well. So moving on to E for the consent agenda for Monday night is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing an engineering services agreement between the Village of Villa Park and Trans Systems Corporation for Washington Street green infrastructure improvements in an amount not to exceed $99,985.69. The village will open bids for the construction of the Washington Street green infrastructure improvements on August 15, 2017. And folks, that's Tuesday after the board meeting. Trans Systems Corporation of Schaumburg, Illinois has submitted a proposal to provide Phase 3 construction engineering services for the project to the village at a cost of $99,985.69. Proposed funding sources for this project include the Street Improvement Fund and referendum account 60 502 292 and Stormwater Fund 68 502 292. And folks, as I mentioned during the Committee of the Whole, that this is Phase 3 construction oversight. So during the construction, we'll have an engineer on site to make sure that the construction goes smoothly and correctly. And it will be, the bids will be opened up on August 15th, which is a Tuesday, and we'll proceed with this project. So moving on to F for the consent agenda is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a license agreement for a portion of the public right-of-way between the Village of Villa Park and the owner of 322 West Adams Street in Villa Park, Illinois. So the property owner at 322 West Adams Street wishes to maintain a walkway between the public sidewalk and the curb in the right-of-way. And folks, we call these walkways carriage walkways. A license agreement is necessary to grant the property owner permission to maintain the walkway. The resident will be assuming all future maintenance of the walkway. The license agreement would be revocable in case right-of-way is needed for a public purpose. And folks, as I mentioned during the Committee of the Whole, this sidewalk will have to be constructed to meet ADA specifications and standards. So in other words, it's going to have a particular slope, a particular width, a rumble strip, a depressed curb, and then it'll have to be maintained in that fashion also. Moving on to G in the consent agenda for Monday night is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a license agreement for a portion of the public right-of-way between the Village of Villa Park and the owner of 216 South Euclid Avenue, Villa Park, Illinois. The property owner at 216 South Euclid Avenue wishes to install a pool water discharge in the Central Boulevard right-of-way. A license agreement would be needed to grant the property owner permission for the proposed installation and maintenance of the discharge. The license agreement would be revocable in the event that the village needs the right-of-way for a public purpose. So folks, that pool water discharge is already there, and as we remove part of the Central Boulevard for the construction project that's occurring, we found that, and now we're requiring the homeowner to have a license agreement to maintain it and in the right-of-way. So moving on to H for the Committee of the Whole for Monday night, H for the consent agenda for Monday night is an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, accepting a plat of easement for stormwater management and sanitary sewer purposes at 780 North Addison Avenue, Car Wash Development, LLC. And folks, this is also the WashU development. A new car wash was constructed at 780 North Addison Road, and stormwater detention has been constructed as part of that development as well. DuPage County Stormwater Ordinance requires all major and minor stormwater systems be located within easements. Additionally, utility easement for the sanitary sewer service granting the village rights of access is also incorporated into the plat. An acceptance of the easements by the village is necessary before it can be recorded. So folks, this is kind of a perfunctory thing to do for us. So we require the utility to be in an easement and the stormwater detention to be in an easement, and then we'll have those easements approved by the board, and then we'll record the easements with the county. So moving on to number 4 for the formal agenda for Monday night is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving engineering design, construction, and construction engineering services for the St. Charles Road Bridge with V3 Companies of Illinois, Ltd., in an amount not to exceed $50,000. The village was only recently notified by the Illinois Department of Transportation that the St. Charles Road Bridge has deteriorated to the point that it requires a lane closure and 15-ton weight restriction. V3 Companies has proposed to complete emergency design, construction, and construction engineering of repair efforts on the failing bridge beams instead of closing a lane of traffic across the bridge at a cost not to exceed $50,000. Funding would be taken from the Street Improvement Fund 60-502-10299 and non-referendum activity account. The village would also seek to apply previously awarded state grant funds toward this project. So folks, as I mentioned, during the Committee of the Whole, the village was notified by IDOT that the bridge is deteriorated in such a fashion that we need to reduce the weight restrictions to 15 tons, and because of deterioration, to close the outside westbound lane. But rather than close the westbound lane, we would like to do a temporary repair or fix, if you will, by the installation of a steel beam underneath the bridge to provide extra support. And by doing that, we would not have to close the lane. And then we would have 2 lanes in each direction open until the bridge would be reconstructed at that, and then we would be able to keep both lanes in each direction open. So we're hoping that that'll be approved Monday night, and we'll move forward with the temporary repair. And the weight restriction signs have already been installed. And I mentioned the village would also seek to apply previously awarded state grant funds towards this project. I did not mention during the Committee of the Whole that the village some time ago received a DCEO grant, Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity grant, through the state of Illinois for assistance with that bridge in construction and design. And that grant was for $80,000. So we've received $20,000 of that grant. When Governor Rauner took office, all the grants were frozen, and so $60,000 of the grant is frozen. And but we're hoping that we can negotiate something and have those funds released. If not, we have funds budgeted within the budget to do the repairs, and then we'll reimburse ourselves at a future time if the funds become available. So moving on to number 5 for the formal board meeting for Monday night, August 14th, is the second, and this is a final reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending the Villa Park Municipal Code relating to regular meetings of the Board of Trustees. It is the recommendation of the village attorney that the order of business for regular meetings of the Board of Trustees be updated to reflect more current municipal practices. Included within this proposal is a change to the meeting start time from 7:30 to 7 p.m., as well as the following standing order of business. So folks, as I mentioned earlier, so effective August 28th, the formal board meeting will start at 7 p.m. And so what I'm going to read is the change effective August 28th to the agendas for the formal board meetings. And so basically what we're doing is we're eliminating the Committee of the Whole, which was really redundant anyway. So now we're doing a more streamlined agenda effective Monday, August 28th. So here it goes. So the agenda will be as follows, effective Monday, 28th of August. Number 1, call to order, roll call. Number 2 is the Pledge of Allegiance. Number 3 would be public comments on agenda items. Number 4 would be amendments to the agenda. Number 5 would be proclamations. Number 6 would be the consent agenda. A, the minutes. B, the bill listing. 7 would be the first reading on ordinance to be codified. That's an introduction. There's no vote. And what I mean by ordinance to be codified, that would be changes to the ordinance. Could be a parking change like North Avenue, townhomes I described earlier, things of that nature that go into the municipal code and affects all of us within the village. Number 8 of the new agenda is the second reading on ordinances to be codified. So folks, will have the first reading, and then the following meeting would be the second reading on the ordinances to be codified. So we'll take 2 different meetings, 2 different readings for that to be approved. Number 9 would be ordinances, resolutions, and motions, and those would be first readings, and that would be a first and final reading. Number 10 is public comments on non-agenda items. Number 11 would be the village clerk's report. Number 12, the village trustees report. Number 13, the village president's report. Number 14 would be the village manager's report. Number 15 would be the executive closed session if it's necessary. And number 16 would be the adjournment. So it's a little bit of a revision from currently what we do. Like I mentioned, it eliminates the committee of the whole, and it's a more streamlined agenda. So very concise and to the point, and I look forward to that. And again, 7 p.m. would be the new starting time, effective August 28th. So moving on to the current formal agenda for Monday, August 14th, is number 6. It's public comments on non-agenda items. Number 7 would be the village clerk's report. Number 8 would be the village trustees report. Number 9 would be the village president's report. Number 10 is the village manager's report. Number 11 is the village attorney's report. And number 12 would be the executive's closed session. And we need a motion to enter into closed meeting for the purposes of 5 ILCS 120-2C. It'd be number 1, personnel matters. Number 2, collective bargaining matters. Number 5, purchase or lease of property. Number 6, sale or lease of property. Number 11, pending litigation. Number 21, discussion of closed meeting minutes. And so, folks, that's number 12. We will not have anything to come out of executive closed session to be voted on, nothing to consider. And so at that time, we'll go on to number 13, which is adjournment. And so, folks, we've got a nice agenda for Monday night, some good construction projects. We've got the change in the agenda, so plenty of things to think about and consider and to discuss. So if you have some time, please tune in or come to the board meeting. That'd be great to see you in the audience, to have our new police chief sworn in. Mr. Michael A. is currently the deputy chief of the police department, so he's going to be promoted to police chief Monday night, August 14th. So, folks, that's all I have for you this morning, this afternoon, etc., for our segment. So, again, my name's Rich Keener. I'm the village manager for the Village of Villa Park. It's my honor. And take care, and we'll see you soon.